Let's talk about the single smartest career bet you can make right now. AWS and Azure together run close to two-thirds of the world's cloud workloads, and the engineers who build on them are quietly the best-paid, most mobile professionals in tech. Over the next 12 slides, I'll walk you through why cloud is the most transferable skill of this decade, and how to invest in it intelligently. So let's start with the big picture, because the numbers settle the debate pretty quickly. Global cloud spend is on track to hit $1.2 trillion by 2027, two-thirds of that running on AWS and Azure. And 94% of enterprises already have at least one provider in production. And on LinkedIn, cloud sits as the second most in-demand IT skill. Only AI ranks higher. This isn't an emerging trend. It's the platform your career is going to be built on. So who are you actually betting on? Three names own this market. AWS holds roughly a third of it with the broadest service catalog, EC2, S3, Lambda, and it's the natural home for startups and Linux-first teams. Azure takes another 23%, dominant wherever Microsoft already lives. Corporate estates, hybrid cloud, Office and Active Directory shops. And GCP, smaller at 11%, punches above its weight in data, AI, and Kubernetes. BigQuery and Vertex AI are the draw. The strategy is simple. Pick one to go deep on and stay literate in the other two. Once you've picked your platform, the next question is what it actually pays. A mid-level cloud engineer sits around 115, DevOps pushes 145, security clears 160, and architects land at 175, with principal roles north of 200,000. Two things bend that curve upward. Certifications, where an AWS SAA or Azure AZ-104 typically adds 15 to 30 grand, and geography becoming irrelevant. The work is APIs and text, so salary follows the role, not your postcode. Now, to actually earn that salary, you need to understand the shape of the work. And the good news is it's the same shape everywhere. Every cloud project, on every provider, comes down to 6 building blocks: compute, storage, databases, networking, identity, and observability. AWS calls it EC2, Azure calls it VMs. AWS gives you S3, Azure gives you Blob. Different names, identical concepts. The day that clicks, you've stopped memorizing services and started engineering systems. Once those building blocks click, the real shift becomes obvious. And it isn't really about servers at all. On premises, a new machine takes 4 to 8 weeks. In the cloud, 60 seconds. Global expansion stops being a construction project and becomes a region flag. Disaster recovery, scaling, hardware babysitting at 2 a.m., all the things that used to consume your week are now someone else's SLA. What you're really buying is permission to experiment cheaply and move fast. That's the leverage. And that leverage opens doors. 6 of them, in fact. Cloud Engineer is the entry point. VPCs, VMs, deployments, the daily build and operate work. From there, you can branch into Architect for the strategic design calls, DevOps and SRE for the automation layer, security for the booming compliance niche, data engineering on Snowflake or Redshift, or MLOps running GPU clusters on SageMaker and Vertex. Start as an engineer, and within 2 years you can change lanes without starting over. That's the real career compounding. To get those roles, certifications matter more here than almost anywhere else in tech. Start at the foundation, AWS Cloud Practitioner or AZ-900, to lock in the vocabulary. Then climb into the professional tier where the AWS Solutions Architect Associate is, frankly, the most valued cloud cert on the planet, paired on the Azure side with AZ-104 and AZ-305. And once you're senior, specialists like AWS Solutions Pro, Security Specialty, or Terraform Associate are where the premium salaries live. And here's the part people miss when they think AI replaces cloud. It doesn't. It sits on top of it. Bedrock, Azure OpenAI, Vertex, SageMaker. Every one of them is consumed through cloud APIs, authenticated through Cloud IAM, billed on a cloud invoice. The H100's training your models? rented by the hour from AWS or Azure. Inference at scale is just cloud ops with a model in the middle. So learning cloud isn't a detour around AI. It's the road in. So if cloud is the road in, here's how you actually walk it. Month 1. Pick AWS or Azure, not both, and get a Hello World VM running by day 3. Month 2. Knock out the foundation cert. It's not impressive, but it forces the vocabulary. Months 3 and 4, you build. Static site, app on a VM, managed database, all wired up in Terraform. Then months 5 and 6, you level up to the associate cert and ship a multi-tier app to GitHub. 6 months, 2 certs, 1 real project. That's the formula recruiters actually respond to. Now, the formula works, but only if you sidestep the traps that swallow most beginners. Don't try to learn all 3 clouds at once. Pick one and go deep for a year. Don't skip Linux and networking. The cloud is a Linux farm with an API bolted on. Live in the console too long and you'll never scale. Terraform is the working language. Watch your free tier bill religiously because one forgotten GPU teaches an expensive lesson. And finally, never certify without building. The cert opens the door, the GitHub portfolio closes the deal. So here's the bottom line. Cloud isn't a niche skill anymore. It's the substrate every modern system runs on. A $1.2 trillion market by 2027, the highest ceiling in IT, work that's remote and global by default, and every AI workload on the planet flowing through it. Run AWS Configure, commit to 6 months of deep practice, and you become the person companies are quietly desperate to hire. Start today at dargslan.com. Books, paths, and cheat sheets to walk you the rest of the way.